looky here. It's the Pat and JT podcast.
Pat and JT podcast.
Wild that half of the year is already gone. Isn't that crazy?
I know. July 1st, boom, upon us. And here we go into the 4th of July weekend. Fireworks have not been crazy. Of course, everybody's broke.
Well, is there I saw something today, and I guess I didn't realize, is there a new ordinance that they can't start shooting fireworks in the city until the 2nd? I saw that today. And is that new?
Oh, that's been absolutely violated in my neighborhood.
Okay.
So, I mean,
but you're right. I almost said hot dogs. Fireworks have not been as bad. I must be hungry.
I don't know.
Yeah, but you're right though. Fireworks haven't been that as bad. I don't think.
Let me see. Fireworks 2024 Omaha area fireworks.
I think this said July 2nd or July today through the 4th, but then like
July 4th, 2nd through the 4th, from noon to 11 p.m. Fireworks can be discharged. Well, somebody needs to spread the news. I mean,
and then I think another county, I don't know if it's Lancaster or what, goes through the 7th, so people can fire them through the weekend if they want.
They should only be able to go through the 4th.
Which I'm not like, seriously, I get it if you want to do it a couple days early. I understand that, but I mean, it's like, it's weird. It's the 4th of July. Just do it on the 4th or the 5th or whatever the closest Friday is.
I could see, Friday. See, the 4th is actually on Thursday, right?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. If you can't get your party in by the 4th or the 5th.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of looking the area. Papillion, June 25th through July 3rd. Then on the 4th, they extend the hours 8 a.m. to midnight. Bellevue through the 4th, midnight on the 4th. I don't see it. Through the 6th in Council Bluffs. And a few others. Waterloo, what are you doing? June 24th through July 5th. Boom. See, rural areas, Sarpy County, SIDs, June 25th through July 3rd, and then on the 4th through midnight. Seems to be kind of the typical, but yeah, that has been violated.
Yeah.
But not as ruthlessly as it's been violated in the past. Where'd I go?
I don't know. Oh, you're back. I don't know where you went. That was weird.
I have no idea what just happened there. Anyway, but it has been definitely violated. So, but it hasn't been as bad. It really hasn't been that awful. So, for whatever it's worth, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But as we get closer to the 4th, it's still early, obviously. But I also don't have most of the people that are in my neighborhood now. They've cycled through, and so it's a lot of really little kids. So it's just like
snaps,
maybe, sparklers, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can still even have those anymore. Will they allow that? Did those go out with lawn darts? I don't know.
Think they tried to make like paper straws. They tried to make paper sparklers, and that didn't work out so well.
Which is silly. So anyway, I'm not. Once we get past that part, I'm okay. I'm still. Otherwise, I don't know. This weekend has been crazy. The weather was ridiculously nice.
Yeah. We went to Lanahaw and walked around. You gotta love when you get up on a Sunday morning and to have zero intention on buying 2 big trees and digging big holes in your backyard. But that's what we did yesterday when we were at Lanahaw, and we got I don't even know what kind of trees they were, aspen-ish kind of trees. Anyway, we were walking down the aisle, and one of the trees had a little baby bird in it, just sitting there out of the nest, just holding on to one of the branches, like to the point where I think it could fly, but it didn't fly. Scared the crap out of me, though. Like, I mean, you don't expect that. And I thought it was for some reason like some big bug or whatever.
Family vacation.
It's like I went, scared me to
Christmas
death.
vacation.
A little tiny robin guy, so super cute.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's always good. I didn't do anything fun like that. I pulled weeds.
Yeah.
Lots of weeds. But with the rain, it's been pretty easy. So that's all right.
Yeah.
Got some work done. So that's cool. Story-wise, things kind of, this is the dead zone. This in January, right? Those are kind of like the dead zones.
Yeah.
Before things, that makes sense. Every 6 months, I guess they need a break to recharge.
Yeah.
Something. I'm trying to think, is anything crazy been at all?
No.
Weird.
Yeah.
Activities or anybody doing anything crazy? I know one thing, and I'm going to pull this up here so I can play it, because this was something, it's been around before, and then somebody reposted, and actually the account that has it up here reposted it too. and said that this happened. Well, I think, they said that this happened this year. It didn't happen this year, the SAG Awards. And every time I see it, I'm like, oh man, it's Robert Downey Jr. And I don't know if a lot of people, it seems like sometimes I mention to somebody because Robert Downey Jr. famously fell not only off the wagon, off the cliff.
Yeah.
He was downward. And he was helped by several of his friends. And he makes mention of that. I think it was in 24, he made mention of that. And maybe that's where he was confusing the two, the guy was talking about, because he did receive an award this year, apparently. And anyway, and it made mention of the name of the person that he focused on in this video, which was Mel Gibson. And that Mel Gibson had reached out to him when he was at the lowest point of low. I don't know if you've seen this, but let me pull this up here real quick and share this, because this is like one of those things that you don't hear about until much later. I'm going to pull this up here, go there, and we'll just hit this.
Over my head. And because when I couldn't get sober, he told me not to give up hope, and he urged me to find my faith. Didn't have to be his or anyone else's, as long as it was rooted in forgiveness. And I couldn't get hired, so he cast me in the lead of a movie that was actually developed for him. And he kept a roof over my head, and he kept food on the table. And most importantly, he said that if I accepted responsibility for my wrongdoings, and if I embraced that part of my soul that was ugly, hugging the cactus, he calls it. He said that if I hugged the cactus long enough, I'd become a man of some humility, and that my life would take on new meaning. And I did, and it worked. All he asked in return was that someday I help the next guy in some small way. It's reasonable to assume that at the time he didn't imagine the next guy would be him.
That's funny.
So we famously know that, yes, Mel Gibson went through a little trial and tribulation also.
Yeah,
but
that's
the
funny.
interesting part of that, though, that he said that he gave him a job. He gave him the role that was developed for him. And the movie that was called Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Yeah,
I'd never seen it.
I never seen it, but I remember it.
I rented it. I watched it. It was like $3 and watched it. It's a good movie. But you can tell, knowing that this was written for Mel Gibson, because of the dialogue and because of the just everything about it. It screams Mel Gibson, but it absolutely worked for Robert Downey Jr. It was absolutely worked for him. So I just thought it was kind of neat that he put that out there when he needed somebody to throw him a line. And that of all people, it was Mel Gibson who came and helped him out.
That's super cool.
I thought that was really neat. So, and then along that line, because once you watch one movie that you have not seen, and this is like 20 years ago, I think this movie came out, then your algorithm gets shaken up a little bit, and you get other movies that you haven't maybe seen before. I had never seen Donnie Darko.
I haven't either. It's
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Okay.
Stars in it. And I think this movie was in 2001. Yes, 23 years ago. So I've never seen that one. So I'm curious if anybody's seen Donnie Darko. If you had it, and I mentioned it to a friend of mine, and he was like, "Oh God, that movie scared me to death. That's the one with the rabbit, right?" And I was like, "Yes, I didn't know that." And you'll know what I mean if you watch it. But the thing that caught my eye about it, because it was almost 25 years ago, and we've talked about this before, but when you watch movies that are older movies and you see a cast of characters. This was, aside from Jake Gyllenhaal and his sister Maggie was in this, Drew Barrymore, Seth Rogen, Patrick Swayze, Mary McDonnell. And if you don't remember her, Dances with Wolves, she was the Stands with the Fist, right? She was the woman who was taken by the Indians. Noah Wyle, and just a bunch of others that you'd probably look through the list and be like, oh my God, I know who all these people. And some of them were somewhat famous at the time. Some were just starting to make their climb, but it was really fun because you're watching and all of a sudden I'm like, that's Noah Wyle. What? Wait a minute. Oh, wait. And then, that teacher, that's Drew Barrymore. What the heck? I didn't know she was in this. And I had not seen this movie. Had not seen it. I don't know. I've heard of it. I knew about it.
I've heard of it. I've never seen it.
I just cast it aside and I don't know if it was the way it was promoted. Steven just popped in and said, yeah, Donnie Darko, good movie, a little on the strange side. Well, it's Jake Gyllenhaal. And I wonder if he just won't take one that's strange. I don't know. But you're right about it. It is a little bit weird, and the way it ends, I didn't see that coming, but it made sense. Then at the end, it was like, okay, that was tied it with a bow. But if you get a chance, check it out.
Okay.
Yeah,
I got a lot of things on my list before that, but I will put that on the list.
It might be better than some of them. I don't know.
Kind of speaking of renting movies, did you see that Redbox announced that it's filing bankruptcy and people haven't been paid for like a week? And I'm like, if you're complaining that Redbox hasn't paid your paycheck, I mean, the writing's been on the wall for a minute. When is it like on you?
Oh my God. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, let me think here. Last time I can't. Oh, hold on. Alexa's going to. Yes. Okay. What does she say? Okay. Hold on 1 second here. Oh my God.
Maybe
yell at Alexa to stop here while I was doing this, but
that's funny.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, come on, Redbox. It was a great concept 20 years ago, but I know they were going to try to pivot into online digital stuff, but apparently that didn't work. So people are mad because they're paid their checks. They didn't get direct deposits, and now they're filing for bankruptcy.
I hope they were looking already. I do hope they were. I don't know. What do you do? What do you do if you're way up high in the Redbox hierarchy and you leave
6 months ago
your resume and you're going to go try to find?
I think that'd be the leading question. It's like, why'd you stay at Redbox so long, Ken? Dude, have you watched that Sherry Papini? I think it's Sherry Papini, the one that faked the kidnapping and then her husband with that documentary on Hulu.
Yeah.
Have you watched that? Oh my gosh, we watched it this weekend. It was like
Gone Girl. It was the real Gone Girl, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like in 2017, 2016, whatever, when she faked her kidnapping. It was crazy. I mean, it was a wild story from what we saw in the press, but this showed all the stuff, like the behind the scenes kind of stuff, and talked about how she created and got those injuries. And maybe this stuff was all out there before, but I hadn't seen it, how she got the injuries and how she did them all to herself and had a friend help her, like by hitting hockey pucks at her. And it's wild.
Well, you remember, okay, so Gone Girl, that was crazy. That was because she did that to herself too, hurt herself like crazy, and did things. Says, do you remember getting hit in the head with a baseball? Chris Whitney wants to know.
Oh, yes, I do, Chris. I do remember that. I don't remember the 5 seconds right after it happened, but I remember, I mean, talk about like, it's kind of BS, to be honest with you, because there was no concussion protocol back then.
No.
And when I say BS, I mean, it's just the way things were done back then. I couldn't even put my hat on because the knot was so big. If we had a cell phone back then, I would have pictures all over the place. I look like a unicorn. Like it hit me right in the head, right here. And I think it was, I don't know if it was Chris. Did you throw it or Troy? I thought Troy threw it. Somebody, I don't know. Somebody threw it. So
it was a throw, not a hit.
I know it wasn't a hit. Yeah, I think it was the runner was leading off first or whatever, I think. And I either wasn't paying attention or whatever.
Shocking.
And again, my details could all be messed up. Chris, if you know the details, fill me in. But yeah, I remember the ball and I remember it coming at me. And next thing I knew, like 5 seconds later, and my coach, Mike Cunningham, I believe it was, it's like, all right, you're good. You good to go? Yeah. And I'm like, my hat, literally, I couldn't put the hat down over my bump. And nobody had my back. Nobody's like, oh, Pat, you should probably sit down and ice it. They're
put some ice on that.
Yes, I do remember that, Chris.
But it was fine.
Yeah. I mean,
it all worked out fine. Everything's
totally
good.
Fine. I just got it didn't hit me in the nose. Oh,
right. I remember that happened to a friend of mine. She got hit, and it was softball, obviously. Yeah. She was either shortstop or third base, and it was a hit, but it was kind of a pop, so it wasn't a direct, but still, it hit her, boom, and just the whole face. Can't even. Just rub some dirt on it, right, Brian? Okay. That was the cure to everything. Just rub some dirt on it.
Oh no, it wasn't my hat I couldn't get on. I couldn't bat because I couldn't get my helmet on because the hat was fine, but I couldn't get the helmet on.
Did they let you bat?
Yeah, they just cocked it back. I mean, if you're letting me play with probably a 17-degree concussion, the worst one possible, they're not going to care if your helmet's not on properly.
I might just knock it back straight.
Oh man.
Get hit once and then hit second time makes it all good again. So it's way to wear it, Pat. That's Lori. Yes, thank you. That's awesome.
I could look up and see my bump. I could look up like this and see my bump. And I'm not exaggerating.
So anywho, back to what was her name?
Sherry Papini.
Hitting herself with hockey pucks.
Yeah, she stayed with that guy that she was staying with. Apparently, I thought it was an ex-boyfriend, according to the documentary. It was no ex-boyfriend, but it wasn't like a sexual thing. They didn't have sex or anything during those 2 weeks that she was gone.
So,
she convinced him to hurt her, like to hit her with a hockey puck, brand her, and I don't know. Like the guy that the sergeant or the detective in the documentary is like, I don't know. I have a lot of good friends. I don't have one friend that would do any of those things to me. If I asked him to.
That's really not a friend.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to say probably, that's the person at that point. If they're your friend, that's when they say, listen,
yeah, we
need to stop this right here.
That's why I'm surprised it wasn't like a sexual thing, because I could see a dude being like, whatever, okay, as long as you're here and we're hitting it, well, I'll do whatever. But like, it wasn't even that. Like, I could see a guy being that dense to be like, whatever. But
I can't. Well, speaking of weird movies too, Curious Case of Natalie Grace.
Mm-hmm.
Have you watched that yet?
Oh yeah.
That is, I've watched another one about this. I haven't seen this one before. This is like several episodes. The one that I watched before was just like 1-2 hour thing about it. So this is like getting into, because I think when I watched it the first time, it was before they did this one, because then it's years later and they have a reunion type thing, and she gets back with what it is she's a girl that was adopted, and there's a couple of scary movies that are based on this kind of thing, like adoption nightmare movies, and adopting, the Good Son, I think, is one of them that was kind of like that, or was it? And then there was another one. They adopted. I can't remember what the deal was, but anyway, in this case, they adopted her, and then they claimed that she was actually an adult pretending to be a child, and she was actually an adult with dwarfism.
Mm-hmm.
And then come to find, I don't know. I'm only in episode 2 right now.
Oh, it's wild. It gets wild.
And I'm having a hard time in episode 2. I'm having a hard time believing the young girl.
Yeah, you kind of go back and forth.
Yes.
Yeah. I think 3. Isn't there 6 episodes or 5 or something like that?
That'd be about right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think like the 3rd, midway through the 3rd or the 4th is kind of
okay. Eye-opening.
Yeah.
Okay. Clarity.
Kind of like with the Casey Anthony one that I watched that completely changed our minds on that one.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, then I'll keep watching, because I've watched the first 2. I'm into that. Maybe just started the 3rd, and I'm just like,
how that dad is a squirrel bait, right?
And he keeps showing up for the camera, but the mom isn't any better.
Well, I know they're a whole nest of squirrels, but he's like the king. He's a weirdo.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just hard to believe that they had a quote unquote normal life before.
No way.
So yeah. So you can see what we've been doing.
Yep.
We need some more vitamin D. We need to get outside a little more. Go do some stuff. That's okay. That's all right. It's just kind of fun to find something that I haven't watched before, I haven't seen before. And I especially like movies in particular. If I can find something that's from 10, 15 years ago, I don't care, something like that, that's like, dang, how did I miss this one? This is a gem. So yeah, if you have any, let me know. Okay. Love to see it. But I will tell you, Donnie Darko, messed up, but it's pretty good.
Okay. Donnie Darko's on my list.
Okay.
Messed up, but pretty good. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, that's all I got.
All right. Well, thanks you guys for watching. If you're listening, we do this live on Facebook, Twitter, wherever, all the places that we have. Hurrdat Media, Pat and JT. It's Pat and JT all over the place it's not Thursdays, Mondays at 11:30 ish. Otherwise, rate, review, and subscribe to our podcast because it helps other people find it.
Possibly we both need a hard reset.
Yeah. Looking big time. And yes. All right, you guys. Thanks. We appreciate it. Have a great one. And back here tomorrow.
Pat and JT Podcast, a Hurrdat Media Production.